Can you share your 100-year vision for Berkshire? This is a question directed to both Mr. Buffett and Mr. Munger, considering your tribute to Benjamin Graham in which you mentioned the idea of plant trees that others will sit under.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing about Ben Graham. Ben Graham did all kinds of things for me, and he never expected one thing in return. I mean, just, you name it, and he did it, and there wasn't any hidden, or a hint, I should say, of anything he expected in return. And I checked. Well, he wrote a book in 1949 that, in a sense, said to me in very persuasive terms that what I'd been spending the previous 8 or 9 years working at and loving was all wrong. And that book has been, I check it every now and then on Amazon to where it ranks. And Amazon ranks hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of books by sales. And Ben Graham's book has been up there like number 300 or 350 or something like that forever. And there isn't any book like it. I wrote HarperCollins a note the other day because they're bringing out another edition. And I asked them how many copies have been sold, and they said the records didn't go back far enough, but they had 7.3 million copies of this little book that changed my life, and continues to outsell every investment book. Investment books come along, and they're number 400 or 1,000 or something for a while, and then all of a sudden they're number 25,000 or 200,000. And this book, in how many areas can you find any book that has had that sustained position? You go back and look at number 1 at 1950 or number 2 or number 3, and you look at it in 51 and 52. They don't continue. I mean, they just don't continue. Cookbooks, maybe 1 or 2 of them last for a while, but there is nothing. And this book lives on, and everybody keeps bringing out new books and saying a lot of other things, but they aren't saying anything that's as important as what he said in 1949 in this relatively thin little book. So, our vision for Berkshire is exactly what we said today. We want it to be a company that is owned by its shareholders and behaves in a way that society is happy that it exists and not unhappy. And we will have unlimited capital. We'll get lots of talent. And we've got a base that can't be beat. And there's no reason why it can't be perpetuated, just like Ben's book, and maybe be an example to other people. And if so, we'll be very happy. Charlie?
Yeah, one of the really interesting things about Ben Graham, he was a really gifted teacher, a very honorable profession. And that is what has lasted. However, an interesting fact that he was sheepish about in his old age was that more than half of all the investment return that Ben Graham made in his whole life came from one stock, one growth stock, Geico, Berkshire's subsidiary. And at the time he operated, there were a lot of sort of lousy companies that were too cheap, and you could make a little money floating from one to another. But the big money he made was one growth stock. Buying one undervalued great company is a very good thing, as Berkshire has found out again and again and again.
Buffett discussed the significant impact that Ben Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor, had on his investment philosophy. He explains that the book convinced him that his previous investment strategy was wrong, and its persuasive argument had a profound effect on him. The book has been consistently popular over the years and continues to outsell every other investment book. Buffett credits Graham for being a mentor to him, doing countless things for him without expecting anything in return. Both Buffett and Munger agree they want the company to be owned by its shareholders and behave in a way that society is happy it exists. They aim to have unlimited capital, lots of talent, and a base that can't be beaten. They hope that Berkshire Hathaway will become an example to other people and can be perpetuated just like Ben Graham's book. While discussing Ben Graham's investment philosophy, Munger notes that Graham made most of his investment returns by buying one growth stock, Geico, which now a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway. Munger believes that this is an essential lesson for investors, as buying one undervalued great company can be a better strategy than just jumping from one cheap company to another. Berkshire Hathaway has also found this to be a successful strategy over the years.